So our first speaker this evening is Andrew Gouty. His day job is as Director of Inbound Marketing at Radius, an enterprise digital marketing agency in downtown Indy. He's an adopted Hoosier, having spent a few years screwing around in Colorado, Oregon, places like Europe, before a British woman convinced him to plant roots in Indy. Go figure, right? Please help me welcome to the stage Andrew Gouty. Break a leg, man.
Thank you. Testing. Okay. So, much like Chris Reed, I really enjoy superhero movies. I really enjoy superhero stories. And who wouldn't? The notion of superheroes in our society, the entertainment value is obviously very high, to the tune of $1 billion in a week. But what I want to explore with you today is the notion of how we can make their nobility and their courage more applicable to our everyday lives. And it's hard to do because the notion of a superhero, you can't exactly imagine yourself having coffee with Tony Stark or catching a matinee with Wonder Woman, even though I might enjoy that thoroughly. But when you think about superheroes, you also think about how they are forged through the crucible of an everyday human being being thrust into extraordinary circumstances. But again, how do we make this more relevant? Where's the superhero moment? Where's the Superman moment in my 10 a.m. conference call? It's kind of hard to fathom. So what I want to do is explore with you some data that I think is very relevant to this. Now, this is a survey that Gallup does every year exploring the ethical and professional standards of certain professions. And on the left-hand side, as you would expect, those that are ranked highly are ranked highly, and as you get down to the bottom of those that you would expect to be ranked at the bottom are ranked at the bottom. Now, I'm an advertising professional, and advertising professionals are right there. Yeah. Right along with lobbyists, car salesmen, members of Congress. Like, I keep some great company. And this bothers me for a couple of reasons, not to mention that the company that I keep is pretty crappy. But that when you look at this from an analyst point of view, like an egghead like me, you start to wonder, what are the circumstantial predictors that make military officers, grade school teachers, medical doctors, pharmacists, police officers, what makes them circumstantially better or more ethical than someone who inhabits the lower end of this chart? And what I have discovered staring at this is the notion of physical distance. So if you think about a doctor, a teacher, people who can actually reach out and touch somebody, the likelihood that they would abuse their station is that much less as a function of their distance between them and who they serve. And what I want to explore further is the idea that an ethical profession practices empathy just as a function of being closer to the person that they want to impact. And we can't necessarily, make car salespeople ethical or, end congressional corruption, but what we can do, you and I, is we can close the gap between us and the people that we serve. For example, I would imagine a lot of you spend a lot of time on the phone. And what I want to submit to you in your 10 a.m. conference call is that a video conference is better than, or an in-person meeting is better than a video conference, which is better than a conference call, which is better than an email, which is better than a text message. The idea being that when we send text communications, that when we cede the right for our information to be interpreted by the nonverbal cues that we give, that we are not active in our leadership. And finally, what I want to submit to you is this, that if we as professionals are able to incrementally grow the investment of how we show up in the world, maybe go across town for a cup of coffee instead of calling somebody on the phone, that we can make a greater impact in the relationships that we have with other people and subsequently grow the impact that we have in the world. Thank you very much for your time.